What's going on, guys? In this little bonus video today, I'm going to be giving you some exclusive gameplay and my first impressions of the new and upcoming Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Now, this is obviously not the final version of the game, and you do run into a couple of bugs, my personal favorite being when I was walking through a field and ran into a random upside-down tractor. Now, the game was announced last year at E3, and it was definitely one of the most hyped games for this year's show. So, first up, let's deal with the most important factor, which is, as I think we can all agree, the Michael Bay factor. And I'm happy to report that Wildlands scores a solid 9 out of 10 on the Michael Bay scale. The explosions in this game were ridiculous, and half the time I would just be shooting at a random enemy and accidentally make half the map go up in flames. So, for those of you who don't know, Ghost Recon Wildlands is a massive open-world tactical shooter, and it's the 10th installment in the seemingly never-ending Tom Clancy franchise. The game is set in Bolivia, which is populated almost entirely by drugs, drug cartels, and llamas.
That's a second target. That makes 5.
At the show, we got to play through just one mission, but from checking out the map at the start, the world is massive, like bigger than almost any other game I can remember playing. So in this video, we're going on a mission to retrieve some intel about prisoners or something. I don't really pay attention to that part. You know how these things go. So in the first part of the mission, we had to try and capture this cartel boss so we could find the location of the intel. But because we suck and kind of wasted half our time shooting llamas, he managed to get away. So we all grabbed a couple of motorbikes and chased after him. Conveniently, he only really ran 50 meters down the road, so after a tough fight against the cartel at this base, we finally managed to get our hands on the boss. Sadly, just when everything looked like it was actually turning around, one of the guys in my squad decided to shoot the boss in the head, meaning we didn't actually get the intel and we failed the mission. Luckily, the guy running our session took pity on us and gave us another shot. This time, by some miracle, we actually managed to capture the boss, get the location of the intel, and then we all piled into a helicopter to go chase it down. Now, from the sky, I got a really good look at the world, and I got to admit, it was pretty damn, well, pretty, as well as insanely large. Even once we got up higher, I could barely see the horizon. Now, skydiving is cool in any game, and Wildlands is no exception, so our next step was to fly down to this burning farm with a seriously scary-looking scarecrow dead dude in the middle of it, and really, seeing this guy gave me second thoughts about whether or not we should really be attacking a Mexican cartel. After doing some quick scouting of the base we were about to invade, it was time to attack. So I jumped on a motorbike and drove down. We agreed my role was going to be to take out the sniper tower, so after quickly taking down some of the outer perimeter guards, I took up my spot above the base. Sadly, we quickly found out I have absolutely terrible aim when I'm using a controller, so instead I decided to run in and fight at a little bit of a closer range. After a few more intense gunfights, we finally managed to get our hands on the intel, and it was about now that we were actually beginning to work together as a team, and I thought we might not be the worst Wildlands players of all time. But then, with almost perfect timing, the squad member we put in charge of finding our getaway vehicle rocked up in a one-seater tractor, and then proceeded to drive that tractor into a building, flip it, and die. So we decided that was probably a good time to call an end to this first playtest. So, long story short, what did I think of Ghost Recon Wildlands? Well, if you ignore the fact that me and my squad were absolutely horrible at the game, it seems like it has a lot of potential. The world is absolutely massive. I don't have an exact understanding of it, but from everything I saw, both looking at the map and getting that view from up in the helicopter, it is seriously huge. And we did actually do one more playthrough after the one that I was talking about in that video, where we approached the mission in a completely new way. This time I suggested that we just fly directly over the base and parachute on top of the intel, grab it, and walk out. And surprisingly, that actually worked. Having a tactical Tom Clancy game set in an open world actually opens up a ton of really cool possibilities around how you approach missions and how you deal with obstacles, and from the few short rounds I played, Wildlands definitely takes advantage of that. While the game still needs a bit of polish and some smoothing of some rough edges, Wildlands is definitely a game that I cannot wait to play in full.